Morning, folks. It's 4:58 and 54.8 degrees. It's day 134. I'm looking up at Carlos Coal Shelter. Very first shelter, about a mile into Maine, so that's pretty cool. First time ever waking up in Maine, my whole life. It's raining for several hours now. I'm not supposed to shut off anytime soon, but we're gonna have a really challenging section to do in the rain today. She'll be right. I'm gonna wake up. Hey, alright y'all, it's 6:26, and I think it was 56.8 degrees, 55.8 degrees, something like that. And raining, light rain right now, which is pretty good. I can do a light rain. I mean, I guess I can do a heavy rain if I got to, but yeah, just leaving the shelter. So it's a 0.3 mile spur to get back up onto the AT. And then after that, we have a bit of a climb. We have basically four, relatively small climbs before we get to, Mahoosuc Notch, that infamous, most fun / most challenging mile on the Appalachian Trail. I'm not sure how in the world I'm going to shoot it again. I don't know. Especially in the rain. Going to be extra challenging to try and capture that. I'll probably try. I might not try, but I'll probably try. I usually try. Yeah, and then after Mahoosuc Notch, then we get a big, hard climb up Mahoosuc Arm or something. I mean, the conventional wisdom about Mahoosuc Notch, basically it's a 1 mile stretch that you're just climbing over van-sized boulders, in between boulders, underneath boulders, all around boulders. Like, sometimes you got to take off your pack and pass it in between or over top or underneath the boulders. You know, all sorts of stuff. But as I said, it's 1 mile stretch. And some of the southbounders I've been talking to, they say like, oh yeah, it took me an hour and 17 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever just to cross that single mile. So and the ones I met who had timed themselves all seemed quite proud of their time, which seemed to suggest to me that they were like pushing to try and go real fast through it. So I don't know. I mean, it sounds crazy that it could take 2 hours to go a mile, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So really today's kind of, almost even more so up in the air, just because of that wild card of how long it's going to take to get across that section and then up the hill on the other side. So I think I plotted out like a 13-mile day, but we'll see. So if I'm able to go further, that'd be great. And if I'm not able to go that far, then I won't. That's kind of what it comes down to. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get on it. And I'll definitely check back with y'all at some point, that's for sure. All right. It is 10 past 10 and just about 55 degrees or so. Tough to tell when the thermometer's usually under my poncho, but I've just made it to the compass west or trail south side of Mahoosuc Notch. So this is the 1 mile slog through all sorts of boulders and stuff. I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like myself. Again, folks say it takes, generally a minimum of an hour, and sometimes quite more, and I expect quite more if you're shooting a lot of shots, which I hope to. Mercifully, the rain has abated for the time being, which is wonderful. Hopefully it holds off. Let me knock on wood. Hopefully it holds off, at least until I make it to the other side of the notch. But once I'm to the other side of the notch, I am by no means out of the fire. I still have a tremendous climb up Mahoosuc Arm, which is going to be a lot of fun too. But yeah, that's about all I have for now. I guess I'm going to sit down. I'm going to eat a snack. I'm going to make sure everything on my pack is totally buttoned up and battened down. I'm going to put away my trekking poles, which would be the first time in the whole trail I've actually packed up and put away my trekking poles for a stretch. Oh, something else I just wanted to mention is you might have seen in a shot yesterday of strange little orange berries, sort of like clustered up berries. I was like 90% sure that I knew what that was yesterday, but I wasn't really going to mess with it until I confirmed. And luckily last night I had enough cell service I was able to jump on and confirm that indeed what those berries are that you saw me eat a couple of earlier today, but they weren't quite ripe. Those are cloudberries. I was amazed to see them out here. I had no idea that they grew here. Usually they don't grow like south of the 55th, like 55 latitude. And I'm at like 45, 44, something like that right here. So I'm surprised to see them for sure, but boy, those are great. I mean, those are wonderful, wonderful little, typically thought of as, regarded as like Inuit or Scandinavian or something like that in those colder climates. But boy, when they're ripe, they are delicious, cloudberries. And I wasn't expecting to see them, so what a wonderful treat. Hopefully they'll be ripe by the time I finish the trail if I find some more further north. But yeah, cloudberries. Also, fair warning, kind of a PSA again, don't eat anything you find in nature unless you're 100% sure. 95 isn't good enough, 90 isn't good enough. You better be 100% sure of what you're dealing with before you try and eat it. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna have a snack, something safe like a protein bar or something like that, drink some water, make sure my kid is all dialed in and packed up, and then I'm gonna break into Mahoosuc Notch. So yeah, I'll talk to you on the other side. All right, 10:22, 54 degrees. And we're just leaving the Mahoosuc Notch sign. So here we go. Yep. That's a solid block of ice. Nifty. All right, y'all, 53.4 degrees at 11:56. Just made it to the trail north side of Mahoosuc Notch. Wasn't too bad. I mean, it was definitely got my attention. It was tricky, you know, at times, kind of scraped up my hands a little bit, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. So between the shots and everything, I guess that was an hour and 34 minutes or something like that to get from side to side, which I'm pretty happy with. I mean, I wasn't trying to run, I wasn't trying to be fast, just trying to go, just like usual. The biggest bummer of all is that I put one of my 1-liter water bottles full of water in my pack, and at some point it like popped open or something, so now I have about 1 liter of water sloshing around in my pack, and I don't know whether the Dyneema dry bag with my sleeping bag and clothing and all that in there was sufficient to keep everything dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and take several minutes and try and sort this out as best I can, dump everything out of my pack, thankfully it's not raining, and then use some of my microfiber towels to try and dry it up as much as possible before reloading everything. The biggest question is whether my sleeping bag is soaked. If my sleeping bag is soaked, I'm in a tough spot. So we'll open it up, we'll take a look, and I'll report back in a few minutes after I take care of everything. Whew, all right, well, it's 12:17. I'm gonna do like a thorough check here to make sure I didn't lose anything since I dumped my entire pack. Doesn't look like I'm leaving anything. The good news is that it looks like my dry bag is dry, so that's clothes and sleeping bag. That's definitely good news, because if my sleeping bag was just soaked, then that's like, you got to think about getting off trail and drying that. I mean, especially if all my clothes were wet too, because that would be my backup, would be to throw on dry clothes and just kind of hope for the best. But luckily I don't have to make that decision, think about that too much, because it looks like everything in the dry bag is dry. So that's really good news. Really, the bad news isn't that bad in comparison. The bad news is that that silly little middle strut bar on my Z-Packs just won't stay in, man. It just won't stay in. So, whatever. Should be less than a month left in the hike. And, you know, I was already planning on sending it back to him just to have him, like, poke across it, poke over it this winter, poke through it. I don't know. So I'll just make a note when I send it back to him to, like, I don't know what needs to happen to make that stupid thing stay in place, but it's aggravating that it keeps popping out. I mean, obviously everything that wasn't in my dry bag too, I didn't say it explicitly, but everything that wasn't in my dry bag is just completely soaked. So, oh goodness. Oh, we're gonna go up. Right, well, so like my poncho somehow is just totally wet, totally wetted out. My tent, which was, you know, wet on the outside but mostly dry on the inside, totally soaked. Ground cover is just holding a ton of water as well. You know, I mean, stuff is just wet. So that'll be fun when we get to camp. I'll have to try and like pitch up a sopping wet tent and then try and dry it out as much as I can on the inside. But whatever, you know, these are the sort of challenges I expected when I started the trail, I guess. So, I mean, just gonna give them to me all 1, 2, 3 right out the gate. Sorry, I'm checking to see where the water is. Yeah, still a little further ways up. So yeah, anyways, Mahoosuc Notch, that was definitely fun. And I still have like freaking 9 miles or something to go before I get to camp, I think, or something like that. Who really knows? Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna let the soaking wet pack not get to me too much, because really it could have been a whole lot worse. That's for sure. Hopefully the shots of Mahoosuc came out all right. Definitely a fun little spot. Definitely a fun spot. But I can see why people hate it too. So, all right. Anyways, we'll keep on moving. Doesn't this look inviting? Yep. All right. Well, welcome to Maine. Okay, folks, I think it's about 5:15. Not quite sure of the temperature. I left my watch. There's my bear hang right above this pretty creek. About 80 paces away is my tent. I've already pitched up my tent. I've already had dinner, cleaned up, put everything up in the bear bag, brushed my teeth, filtered some water for tomorrow. Yeah, man, I just sort of found a stealth spot. That was kind of the spot I had earmarked as a potential stopping point. Got here and the spot looked good and it was available, and the next option was like another 4 miles up another mountain, and I was really on the fence because I still feel good, and I was really on the fence about pushing that last 4, and I was like, nah man, if I'm coming off feeling tired and empty and all those other things, probably better just to go ahead and stick with the original plan, call it early, hang my hat on a success, and you know, live to fight another day tomorrow. Yeah, so I mentioned 80 paces to my tent. I guess that makes this my first regulation distance bear hang in a while, and certainly it was regulation height and distance off the trunk and all that, so that's pretty good. Yeah, today was a good day for sure. We got over Mahoosuc Notch, and then Mahoosuc Arm is the climb. I didn't do a ton of filming this afternoon, which I'm sure you probably noticed, but I kind of just started clicking. Like, I don't really know how to explain that either, really. I mean, I imagine it's the same for any sort of athletic activity or whatever, but we just sort of like, you just sort of feel good doing it. And you know, especially with the past few days or whatever being what they've been, I didn't really want to interrupt that too much with shots and staging up shots and all this and that. So as soon as I kind of felt my body firing well, I just kind of let it ride. So sorry about the lack of shots, but you know, I got my priorities. Certainly filming is a big priority, but hiking is also a priority. So anyways, that's the tent pitch up. You know, I mean, pretty good, all things considered, I'd say. So this will be the side I go in and out just because. And as you may have put together, we're only like 20 feet off the trail, just right back that way. So that's fine. Whatever, nice little piney earth here. So that'll be pretty good. I didn't catch you up on my tent from last night. So last night, again, the rain started up around 1 in the morning or so, maybe midnight or something like that. But it never really stormed. I didn't ever hear any thunder. The wind never really kicked up, and it's kind of been... Actually, it's a little bit lighter, the rain right now, than it's been most of the day. But, you know, even last night, it was never a heavy rain. You know, it was never gusty and heavy and stormy and all that, which is nice. Just kind of a steady rain. So the tent, with the sort of nuanced pitch, performed quite admirably. I was happy with that. And then when I struck it this morning, of course it was all wet, you know, from the rain and everything. But yeah, struck it down pretty easy, and you know, everything's good. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what time it is. I think 5:15, and I'm not sure exactly what temperature it is, but I'm guessing maybe around 50. Gosh, it looks like the sun's even going to come out now. How about that? Anyways, tomorrow I think I'm gonna hike like 10 miles or something, and then I'll be staying at kind of a really well-renowned hostel called The Cabin, which has been in operation for I think 40 years or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So I'll be kind of, I don't know if you want to call that a Nero or just a really light day or what, but probably 10 miles to get to where they'll pick me up, and then just, you know, the plan is right now anyways, hopefully just spend one night. But you know, at this point I got a lot of gear. I got to dry out after that 1 liter bottle exploded. So that was a bit of a bummer, but again, could have been a whole lot worse, boy. Anyways, I think that's about all I have today. I'm not really sure what's ahead after this point. Mahoosuc was kind of the last big hurrah, and I know we got the 100-mile wilderness, but that's not for like another 100 and some odd miles. So I'm not really sure what the rest of Maine looks like, but I guess we'll figure it out together. So That ought to be pretty good. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and turn in, start processing videos, and take off all the wet clothes I've been wearing all day long. And try and get warm. So that'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. I will check in with you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. 134 in the books. See you tomorrow.